Well, hi, Karen Sullivan, and it's time to go live again with my show, Zesty Wonderful Life. And of course, today I'm excited because it's episode 15. I'm excited for a lot of reasons. Episode 15, and it is also about living. And you notice I put lowercase letters, living or living. How are we living? And you see I have a little card. You know what this is? This is one of those stress things. So we're going to talk about stress because I think that's part of what keeps us from really truly living our lives. Now, I wanted to make sure that you know I have a lot of special treats and everything today. The first thing is in the live broadcast, for those of you who comment and share especially, and ask questions, of course, but all this interchange of information, liking, I love to see hearts go across the screen, and those things let me know that I'm answering your questions, even perhaps before you've even asked them. So in the live show, you can do those things in hearts, and the person who does it the most is going to get a copy of The Zen of Weight Loss, okay, my first book. Now, if you already have a copy, we can talk. We'll see what else I get you another gift, okay? But that's for the live broadcast. But I do have some other things that I'd love to give you and share with you. One thing is I have a PDF of all the 10 tips, and it goes through some of the things that I talk about in this broadcast, but it also has even more tips on how you can reorganize and sort of consolidate things in your life to make it so that you're not so crazy. So, are you crazy? Sometimes I can be that way. You've heard me before talk about the outside of the top, and the craziness that goes, sort of the Tasmanian devil that's going around and around and around. And if you are centered and focused, you're on the tip of the top, which doesn't move, right? It just sort of floats from side to side while all the energy is on the outside. Now, it's not like you don't have energy when you do it, but your energy is focused and it's calm. So we don't like to live life like that. Did you realize, too, that stress can come when there's any kind of change in your life, even when it's good? You get a new baby and that's so exciting, that's stressful. You get married and that's stressful. Someone loses a job and that's stressful. So any change in life off the status quo will make stress in your life, okay? Now, the thing that's important about difference between lowercase living and all uppercase living are the things that we're going to talk about today. Okay, I'd like to share with you a story about myself. 2 years ago, we moved to the Midwest in 2002 from the East Coast, from Virginia, and my husband got a job in 2013, the end of 2013, and I was left here and he went ahead to Atlanta to start working. And I was in charge of moving. So interviewing and working with the real estate agent and put the house on the market and, closing down with my clients. I had a really big client load at the facility where I used to work. And so all of that was happening and it caused a whole lot of stress. My body reacted in two ways to the stress as I got tighter and tighter and tighter, and I spent less time paying attention to Karen and the stretching that I should have been doing, the exercise that I should have been doing. I just worked constantly, boxes, packing, you name it. And two things happened, as I said. One was I had sciatica where my hips were so tight that I had terrible pain that radiated from my sciatic nerve down the left side of my leg all the way into my ankle and my feet. It was in my feet and my left foot. It was horrible. I could barely walk. The other thing that it did was it really elevated my blood pressure really bad. And one day I ended up having, feeling heart palpitations with my blood pressure. It was 200 over 120. And pretty frightening. And I had a friend that said, saw me at the gym, and I was there getting ready to start training and teach my classes. And he said, "You're not doing this. I'm taking you to the emergency room." So he took me and dropped me off and stayed with me for the greater part of the time. When it was all said and done, it was just recognized that it was stress. And I'm not acting like I'm blowing it off that it's not a big deal, but it was a big deal. And they gave me medication, which helped. It sort of made me like a zombie. I couldn't really take it except to sleep, but because I couldn't function at all with it. So at that point, I realized that there were lots of things that I needed to do to actually, deal with the stress. And so those are the things that I like to go through with you now. Now, you also know that any point where I'm talking about practical things that you can do, I'm also going to bring into it some of the information that I have about the Shaklee products. And if you're not interested in buying them, just don't listen to this, but I want you to know that that is what saved me, was the Shaklee Stress Relief. And I think I have a bottle here. Whoop. Oh, I'm knocking everything over. I do. Okay. Stress Relief. And I started to take that, and it made a world of difference because I wasn't sleepy. I was alert, and I was calm and sort of peaceful, and I was fine. I took one a day. And it's, botanical, it's ashwagandha is the major ingredient in it, but it really, really helped me. And I like to share this stuff with you because in this business of 25 years of working with clients, I had gotten away from sharing the fact that these products are so helpful. So that's what I want to tell you about. In the description of this broadcast, it gives the site that you should go to if you're interested in learning more about it. Of course, you can always drop me a private message or comment, okay? And then, and that gets you closer to getting a book or another prize if you already have a book. So here we are, how we're going to deal with it. Okay, in your life, do you feel like you're living what you thought you would live? Are you doing all the things that you'd like to do? Is it really balanced? Now, when I work with coaching clients, I do this thing, I don't know if you can see this, it's called a health wheel, okay? And what it has is, we go through a practice of, drawing a circle, separating out, we have 8 pies, and you have to make sure that each part of your life is being addressed. And the person, we work with this, and the person makes up their mind which area they'd like to deal with. Okay, and then that's what will help you to move along. Okay, so it's things like your self-talk, your image of yourself, sleep and work, and your relationship with, your family, and food and nutrition. Now, what's something that I really am excited about is that there are definite advantages to doing this, but you can also just do it in looking, at, okay, let's see, I work too much, I don't eat right, or whatever, to make that up. So sometimes what happens is you, in identifying the sources of what makes you stressful, you don't look at the whole picture, okay? And part of that picture is that it might be you. It might just be you that's causing so much chaos in your life. It's the domino effect that can happen in our lives where we think from this thing to the next, to the next, to the next. It could be that you don't know how to say no. When somebody comes up to you and says, can you do this? If you already are maxed out in your time and stressed out beyond belief and already have lots of people to take care of, you're allowed to say no. I'm sorry, I'm not able to help at this time. The other thing is, if you feel like you have to say yes to somebody, perhaps it's important to compromise on what your standards are. I have a great example of that. My mother, who is 84, will be 85 in just a couple of weeks, was always just really insistent that the house be kept at a certain standard of that it had to be kept clean, that the outside of the house was good, that the gardens were great. And I get that and I understand, and that's important. But now at 84 years old, where she can't do the work herself, my dad has been gone since 2009, so he certainly can't get out and do any of the work. And she doesn't have the money to hire somebody to do the power washing the way she wants, or to clean the porch the way she wants. And I've had to say to her, Mother, you need to lower your standards. Okay, do you ever sit on the porch? Do you ever go out there and sit on the back porch? No, she doesn't. Occasionally she goes through the back porch to the backyard where her car could be parked. Oh, but she doesn't have a car anymore. So she's not using it. And I just had to say, just kind of let it go. So are there things in your life that you could perhaps just let go, compromise a little bit, and not have the standard be so high? That's one of the first things that you can do. Also, when we have situations where stress comes into our lives, because I can't watch the news. It doesn't bode well with me to watch the news, because I get angry, I get upset. I would like to change it. I'd like to give them my what for, and tell them what I think. And that's silly, because I can't do that. I'm not going to change anything. So I had to stop watching it. And the same thing happens with people that perhaps make you anxious or stressful or give you more work than you need, then just avoid them. Avoid circumstances and people that might cause that problem for you, okay? Now, the other thing that's important is to breathe and slow down. Remember the top. We don't want to be the spinning top. We want to be the center of the top. So deep breathing is important. It's not only good for you to do it because it will help you to calm down. It's also very good for your lungs and ultimately your heart and your brain, because you're getting more oxygen into it. So those very deep breaths where you, and if you've ever been to pulmonary therapy, it's breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as they say it, they say, smell the roses and blow out the candles. And as you're doing it, you count in your mind, 1, 2, 3, 4 is the inhalation. And then the exhale is out to 5 count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, do it with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, and out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, in that 2 breaths, and already you're centered, you can think, you can look, you can weigh your options so that you're going to respond and not react, okay? Now that goes for lots of circumstances. I know that one of the things that a new statement that people make all the time is, I don't want to adult today. I don't want to be an adult. And a lot of times I feel like that. Does anybody else out there feel like that? Make a comment if you do. Send me a thumbs up if you do. But remembering that, we can get off this. We can step back. And this is the third thing that I wanted to share with you. Laughter. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the book Laugh After Laugh by Dr. Raymond Moody. He was best known for the book Life After Life. He wrote, he's a psychiatrist and as well as an MD, medical doctor, and then has 2 board certifieds. But he is, oh yeah, and Laura's here with me today. She's talking to the Tai Chi breathing. Isn't that so true? Absolutely, Laura. Absolutely. And but Ray Moody wrote the book about Life After Life, about near-death experiences. And then he became interested in laughter and in humor because he found it in his practice that it was helpful to help a patient deal with their circumstances, whatever that might be. And so, watching comedies on television will help you. As a matter of fact, Dr. Moody talks about in his book, Laugh After Laugh, about a man who actually cured himself from cancer because he just watched videos of funny stories, of whatever it was. It was old shows, and I can't remember. It might even have been Three Stooges, but there were old comedy stuff, and he watched it and laughed and laughed and laughed and enjoyed it, and healed. So I think that that's a great testimony to what we can do to help ourselves with laughter, and sort of keeping it light, keeping it airy, remembering that life doesn't have to be so serious. Now, if you want to have here's this PDF that I'm going to send to you that has even some more tips here about things that you can do to help reorganize. So let me know and I will send it to you. Just make the comment and just say, yep, 10 tips, and I'll send it to you, okay? Now, the other things, we often hold our feelings in, and we don't talk about what we feel. If something bothers you, you don't tell anyone. You just don't say it, and you just let it sit inside you, and that will cause sort of anxiety and resentment and all these negative feelings to build up, which is not conducive to living life in a beautiful, wonderful, balanced, wholesome way. So the big thing that you need to remember regarding this is just communicate. Take a deep breath. Tell whoever it is, I'm very uncomfortable when you say that because thus and so, or I would prefer if we just didn't talk about that. Okay, let me tell you about my grandson. Let me tell you about my granddaughter, what things were going on. So just let them know so that the feelings aren't, and any resentment is not held in. Okay. The other thing is forgiveness. Let's learn to forgive. And one of the ways, and the most important way, even if you are at the point where you're so ticked off that you can't just say, okay, I forgive you, I do. But what you can do is stop talking about it. Did you know that the brain is such an incredible thing that when you retell a story, all of the emotions and everything that was associated the first time the thing happened, then the body goes, oh, yes, this is happening again. And it elicits the same response in your heart rate, your blood pressure, your temperature, your whatever, anything that's affected, whether it's hormones, heart rate, blood pressure, any of those things, respiratory, you will go through the reaction that you had at the first encounter. And if it was something that was violent or particularly nasty, your body goes through it again because it thinks that it is going through it again. So I call this don't stir the pot. Just don't tell a story over because it's not going to benefit you. It's not going to change what happened to you, but you can instead just within yourself forget about the story and forget about what happened. And you know what? It's nobody's business. It really isn't. And what will it do to tell? Will it be able to change the other person? No. Now that's a toughie. I know it's hard. I know it's really hard because it's all part of that forgiveness thing that we go, oh, I'm really angry and I've been wronged and you were wrong and I am right and all those things. And that's real hard to get through. Now, I do work with people in coaching that are trying to get through problems and instances and everything and trying to work with balancing their life in this living versus living. And so if you're interested, let me know in that. And I don't know that you have really heard about our community because I just went live with it last Thursday. So I have a new web page called Life Health More. See, you see a pattern here? lifehealthmore.net. And I would love to have you come and be a part of that, that whole community. It's specifically for people who are trying to get off the diet roller coaster, feel healthy, feel better. And it's not just about losing weight. It's about finding a balance in your weight, okay? So that you can feel better and be more productive and be healthier all the way around. So if you go to that lifehealthmore.net and you can opt in to be part of it and see the videos, and then from there follows additional training and advanced training, and you get emails at home. Okay, there are some other things that are benefits of being there that I can talk to you about at another time. Now, another thing after forgiveness, and that's really fun to do, is moving. And I know Laura, who is here with me today, that she does move. She goes to exercise at least 4 days a week, if not more. And I know she works in her yard and is pretty active. And that's a great way to burn off any kind of resentments that you might have, or any kind of antagonism. Dancing is fun. I don't know if you ever watch Grey's Anatomy, but they have this thing when they're real stressed out that they'll go dance party, and everybody just goes wild, dancing, loud music, and just sort of doing their thing. Now, you don't always have to dance party, and you don't have to exercise. You could go out and walk. You could take your dog for a walk, take your cat for a walk. And you have lots of opportunities to, especially in the nice weather, to just sort of be out in nature. It doesn't have to be a brisk exercise. Let's get down to it. It could be just going into a park, looking at a garden, looking at plants and flowers and things, and just enjoying being outdoor and Movement is just super important for you. Then if you have family, if you have a spouse or a significant other, there's always a really great thing to do a date night. And make sure that you set a time aside so that this is actually what we're doing. We're going someplace. Doesn't have to cost money. It could be something just like going together to a park. Actually, we have Christmas lights up now, so people can go and see the light displays in neighborhoods. I always love the neighborhood ones. They're great, and they're so much fun because people take a lot of time trying to make the display really fun. We went to Anheuser-Busch here, in St. Louis, has this great display of lights, and it was lovely. And we went there on Friday night with our grandson. Okay, it was great. So let's see, another thing that we can do is just sweat. We can just try to really do a hardcore workout, for those that are younger that would like to do something where they're really, go for a run or do a heavy duty aerobics class or some other sort of cardio class. You could also get a massage. You could write in a journal. Okay, you could listen to music that's just nice and light and relaxing, and stretch while you're listening to the music and do your deep breathing. There you go. You got 3 for the price of 1, right? Then you can sit down with a good cup of coffee or tea. In the winter, I love tea. It just helps me to calm down completely. So if you have any other ideas that you want to share with us about how to unwind, rewind, because when you don't have as much going on, when you can be the center of the top because you've sort of dissipated those things that are not quite so important, and taking the time to get that stress out of your life, right, so that you can be calm and be able to make decisions about life in general, about what you want to do for yourself, and taking more time out of the day to do the stretches, eat right, do the things that you'd like to do. So don't forget about the stress relief. This is a lifesaver for me. It kept me from getting hooked on the drugs that the doctor had given me, and allowed me so that I can be calm and cool and collected. And I still occasionally need it when my mind starts going crazy, like that domino thinking, one after another. So Again, if you're interested in the PDF, I am anxious to send it to you, so I just need you to copy. Yes, 10 tips, and it's got 10 tips of how you can change and go from just living to living. Thanks very much. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment boxes. Thanks a lot. Be well.